Hello everybody, how are you guys doing? Hope everybody is doing amazingly well. Welcome back to another lesson of English with Ashish, and guys, today in this lesson we are going to master perfect infinitives. We are going to learn everything about perfect infinitives, what they are, how they look like, how to identify them, their different forms, everything about them. So make sure you watch the lesson until the end. I'm excited as always. I know you guys are too. Let's do it. All right, everybody, now let's understand what exactly a perfect infinitive is. So, guys, a perfect infinitive is a form of infinitive that refers to a past time. It is just a form. There are different forms of infinitives, all right? So, it is one of the forms of infinitive that refers to a past time, all right? So, now this is very important to note. This is my time chart. So, let's say if the main verb refers to this time, this perfect infinitive is always going to refer to a time that is prior to the time shown by the main verb, right? So if the main verb of the sentence indicates this time, refers to this time, the perfect infinitive is going to refer to this time, right? Prior to, prior to this time, prior to the time shown by the main verb. This is very, very important to note, to understand, all right? Now, what is a perfect infinitive? It's a form of an infinitive that refers to a past time and functions as a noun, right? It functions as a noun. Can it function as an adjective or an adverb? Depends on the situation, because an infinitive can function as a noun, as an adjective, as an adverb. So it can also function as a noun, as an adjective, as an adverb too. All right, in certain situations. Now, let's take some examples and understand how to use them. All right, example number one. You seem to have had dinner already. You seem to have had dinner already. All right, so you is my subject. This is my subject. All right, seem is my verb, main verb. Okay, you seem what? To have done something. You seem to have performed an action. It's a stative verb, right? So you seem to be in a certain state of being, right? So this refers to the present time. This refers to the present time, right? But this infinitive, which is an action, refers to a time which is prior to this time, which is the present. So it refers to a past time. You seem to have performed an action in the past. You seem to have had dinner already. So to have had is my perfect infinitive, and dinner is the object of the infinitive, right? Had what? To have taken what? Dinner, right? So this is my infinitive phrase, perfect infinitive phrase. You seem to have done something. You seem to have had dinner already. All right. Second example. I am glad to have said yes to your offer. I am what I am because of that. So I am glad. Let's break this sentence down first of all. So I am glad about something, right? So I am glad, and this entire thing, right, is giving information about the adjective glad, right? Working as uh, an adjective complement. So I is my subject. This is my subject, right? Am is my main verb, linking verb. All right. This is my main verb, linking verb. All right. Glad is my subject complement adjective, right? Predicate adjective. And to have said yes to your offer is my adjective complement, giving information about the adjective glad. Why am I glad? To have said yes to your offer, right? And there is this another sentence. I am what I am because of that. I subject am, again linking verb. I am what I am because of that, right? This is my noun phrase, subject complement, right? Now, let's break down the first sentence. I am glad to have said to your offer. So, subject, verb, subject complement, adjective complement, right? Now, I am glad. Why? To have done something. To have done something, to have said yes. I am glad about something that I did in the past. Understand it this way. I am glad, I am happy, right? To have done something in the past. I'm glad about an action that I performed in the past. I'm not glad about something that I am doing or I'm going to do. I'm glad about something that I have already done in the past. All right. I'm glad to have said yes. Right. If I were to do something in the future, then I would say I'm glad to join the party tonight. So I would use the simple form. I am glad to meet you. right? I'm glad to meet you. You're probably meeting the person right now. I'm glad to perform tonight. This is referring to the future. But if you're referring to an action that happened in the past, use the perfect form. That is what the perfect form is for, right? I'm glad to have said yes to your offer. So to have said is my infinitive in the perfect form, and to have said yes is my infinitive phrase. All right. Yes is the object of the verb said. Okay. Let's look at another example. We feel ashamed to have lost to the kid. All right. We feel ashamed to have lost to the kid. So we is my subject. Let's break it down. We is my subject. Feel is my main verb. All right. Ashamed. Ashamed is my subject complement. Subject complement, adjective, predicate adjective. And to have lost to the kid is my adjective complement. All right, adjective complement. Where to have lost is my infinitive. Infinitive in the perfect form. Perfect infinitive. And to have lost to the kid, this entire thing is my infinitive phrase. Okay. Now, we feel in a certain way, we are in the state of existence, which is ashamed because of something that we did in the past. We lost to a kid, to a certain kid, and we are ashamed. We are in a particular state of being in the present because of something that happened in the past. We we feel ashamed, or we are ashamed to have lost to the kid, to have bullied the kid. You can change the verb as well, or you can use it in the passive form as well. We feel ashamed to have been been beaten, to have been beaten by the kid. Now this is in the passive form. We're not focusing on the doer of the infinitive, we're focusing on the receiver of the infinitive. We are ashamed, we feel ashamed to have been beaten by the kid, right? We received the action, we didn't do the action here. This is in the passive form, to have been beaten. All right. So in the first example, my infinitive, a perfect infinitive, worked as a noun. See, it's working as a noun, object of the verb seen. In the second example, it worked as an adverb because it's modifying an adjective. And here in the third example as well, it's working as an adverb. All right. Now understand, we also use perfect infinitives in type 3 conditional sentences. A type 3 conditional sentence is a combination of two clauses, uh, a conditional clause and a main clause. We use a perfect infinitive in the main clause. In the main clause, right? Now, before we actually look at the examples, understand this. After a modal verb, we always use an infinitive, right? A bare infinitive. So the verb that comes after a modal verb is called a bare or a zero infinitive. So here, my perfect infinitive will come after a modal verb in the main clause of a type 3 conditional sentence. So the verb, as I said, or the verb phrase that comes after a modal verb, after a modal auxiliary verb, is considered a bare or a zero infinitive, as I just have said. All right. The main clause in type 3 conditional sentences always the main clause in type 3 conditional sentences always has a perfect infinitive true. The main clause in type 3 conditional sentences, very important to know, always has a perfect infinitive. Now let's look at some examples. If you had listened to me, you could have gotten that job. So there is a condition and there is a result to the condition. All right. If this was done in the past, if you had done something, something would have happened, something could have happened, right? If you had listened to me, this is my condition. Okay, this is my condition. Okay, if you had listened to me, something could have happened, something was possible, you could. So you is my subject, this is my main clause, this is my modal auxiliary verb, and this is my main verb, right? You could have gotten that job. So have gotten is my perfect infinitive, bare perfect infinitive. Bare perfect infinitive do not have the particle to. So to won't be here. You won't see to, which you see in infinitives generally, right? You could have gotten that job. You might have gotten that job. should have gotten that job, you would have gotten that job, right? So it will come after a modal verb. Okay, let's look at another example. We would have won the case if he had hired Arun for the case, for it, right? This would have happened definitely. This is the main clause. Okay, this is my main clause, and this is the conditional clause, right? This is the conditional clause. So if this had happened, if he had hired Arun for the case, this would have happened, which didn't happen. Okay, we would have won the case. So would have is my bare infinitive in the perfect form. All right, perfect bare infinitive. We would have won the case. We would have won what? The case. So this is my infinitive phrase. Have won the case. Okay. Now let's understand how to use perfect infinitives in both the active voice and the passive voice. We'll start with the structures first. And before we do that, before we look at the structures and understand them, it's important to understand that there are four types of infinitives, four different forms of infinitives, right? I have a specific dedicated lesson on that as well. You can check it out on YouTube on my channel. So first is called simple infinitive. The second is continuous. Okay, continuous. Okay, the third is perfect, and the fourth one is perfect continuous. Okay, now all these can be used in the active voice, but only simple infinitives and perfect infinitives can also be used in the passive voice. Okay, understood? Now, coming back to the perfect infinitive, a perfect infinitive can be used, can be used in both the active voice and the passive voice. The active voice and the passive voice. In the active voice, we focus on the doer of the action, the subject of the action, right? Infinitive. And in the passive voice, the focus is on the receiver of the action. We don't focus on who did the action, we focus on who received it, right? Who or what the action was acted upon. Now let's look at the structures. In the perfect infinitive, in the active voice, this is how the structure looks like. First, have followed by a past participle, which is a third form of verb. In the passive voice, you will have, right? Obviously, you have to as well. To plus have plus past participle in the active voice. In the passive voice, to plus have plus been plus past participle. All right. To plus have plus past participle in the active voice. To plus have plus been plus past participle in the passive voice. Now let's look at some examples. Example number one, first in the active voice, John pretended to have dated a famous celebrity from Bollywood. All right. So John is my subject, pretended is my verb, main verb. Pretended what? To have dated a famous celebrity from Bollywood. This is my object, right? Which is an infinitive, a perfect infinitive, right? In the active voice. And this is working as the object of the verb pretended. Pretended what? So this is simple past tense, pretended, right? So this is present. Let's say John pretended here. Okay, pretended something here. Pretended an action that he performed before this time, prior to this time, right? So John pretended to have dated a famous celebrity. To date, no. This is simple. John pretended to date a famous celebrity. No. John pretended an action that he had performed. To have dated, this is my infinitive. To plus have plus past participle. Dated whom? A famous celebrity from Bollywood. This is the object, right, of the infinitive dated. Right? Understood? Passive voice. John pretended to have been uh, by dated by a famous celebrity from Bollywood. All right, to have been dated by a famous celebrity from Bollywood. So here, John pretended an action that he received, that was acted upon him by somebody else. So John pretended that somebody had dated him. Somebody from Bollywood dated him. That he had been dated by a famous celebrity from Bollywood. So here the focus is on the receiver, which is John, not the doer, which is a famous celebrity from Bollywood. Okay, let's look at another example. Active voice. You seem to have hired the guys. So you is my subject. This is my subject. All right. Seem is my main verb, stative verb. You seem what? To have hired the guys. And this is my object of the verb. seem what? To have hired the guys. So it seems that you have hired the guys, right? To have done something, to have hired the guys. Object of the verb, infinitive, hired. Hired whom? The guys. Passive voice, you seem to have been hired by the company you wanted to work with. So you seem to have received an action by somebody, by the company you wanted to work with. So you seem to have received an action. You seem to have been hired by doer, the company you wanted to work with. All right. So this is what a perfect infinitive is. Now we know what it is, how it looks like in the active voice, in the passive voice, everything about it, right? So hope you enjoyed this lesson. Hope you learned it. And if you want to know more about it, check out my website, and you have a detailed post on perfect infinitive. Uh, Passive infinitive, everything you need to know about infinitives. We have different posts, right? You can go through all these posts and learn whatever you want to learn. All right. And that's it from today's lesson, and I'll see you guys very soon. Till then, keep learning, have fun. I'm out. Namaskar.